Hi, welcome to another episode of Camera Lounge, brought to you specially by Camera Joint, Nigeria's #1 camera store. And this is a very special interview series for creatives in Nigeria. And in this one, we're focusing on photographers. And I have a very special wedding and events photographer to introduce to you today. And that will be in just a moment. I'm Seyi Adegeye. Welcome. Lights, camera, action. Welcome back. So I have in the house today a very smart, intelligent photographer. If you're in the wedding space and you don't know him, I'm not sure what you know. I mean, this is just a great guy doing amazing work in the wedding photography space. Welcome with me, Seyi Adegeye, the creative director at Rare Magic. You're welcome to Camera Lounge.
Thank you so much for having me. It feels amazing to be here. Thank you for the privilege.
Let's start with this, Rare Magic. I mean, that name is just awesome. Like, we are here to blow your mind, though. We are not here to come on. So how did you come about the name? Maybe we should start with that.
I've always called myself Magic. I didn't like the idea of using my personal name for my brand. I just loved it. It didn't sound right to me. So I wanted to call myself Magic. I just liked the word magic. How to just be, to create magic has always been my personal watchword when I wanted to become a photographer. But the term magic is is a very general term. I can't just call my business Magic Photography. So I needed to just spice it up, And I just woke up one morning and it just fell in my head. I had different words: beautiful magic, special magic, unique magic, but that word just came one morning when I was with my sister, and I just felt Rare Magic sounds good.
Yeah, the truth is, it really does sound good. Rare, as in rare.
There's something special.
So, I mean, it also suggests to me that your bills are also rare.
No, no, we are affordable. Patronize us.
But don't be like that. I'm trying to market you like you're approachable. Let's not use the word affordable. We are approachable.
We're here, hopefully.
Oh, great. Yes. So, tell me about your background.
I'm from a family of 5. I'm the last born, only son. I have 2 other sisters and my parents. I'm from a very, very strong Christian background.
Come on now.
My parents are pastors.
So
But you don't
look it, by the way. Honestly,
really?
You like,
I'm just one humble.
Happening in London. Let's go there.
Just one very humble, easygoing person, But I came from humble beginnings, and I've just been someone that is naturally passionate about finding purpose, doing something in life. It's just in my blood. That is what has really helped me all through my journey. So I graduated from a polytechnic.
Which polytechnic?
Grace Polytechnic is a private polytechnic. Somewhere in Ijebu. So that's where I came from. I'm just one very simple background. Grew up, not too much, no serious drama. All I knew is I wanted to live a life of purpose. I didn't really know what I was going to do, even up until when I finished school and finished service. Before I even realized I was going to carry camera. But I knew I have to pursue something. I just needed to choose something to pursue. That is all I needed. So even choosing photography was not, to be honest, was not born out of passion for photography. It was just a choice.
Well, I mean, what you're saying is very deep. In the core of you is, I must find purpose.
Yeah.
So are you saying to me that you could have done any other thing?
Yes.
And you're sure you would have succeeded?
My dad usually say that, he knows anything I lay my hands on can work. Because I'm a very, I can do this, jam this one, I'm all over the place. That is my nature. When I got my banking job, for example, I was excited. Who doesn't like his son or daughter to work in the bank? My parents were excited. My son is a banker, you know. But when I worked for 2 months, I realized, no, this is not my calling. I can't do this. You know, even though I was very, very efficient at work, I was even the best in my peers. But I knew I needed to channel my energy to something more productive. That's why I resigned. I didn't even spend up to a year in the bank. I just left and went to a microfinance bank, you know, where they pay me less.
So why did you make that switch?
Because I needed time for my life. I'm a very intentional person. One thing I would like to tell upcoming photographers or anybody or any upcoming creative is you have to be very, very intentional about what you are chasing. You know, so when you make certain decisions, you know why you're making the decision. It's not just the tide or the wind that is just or circumstance that is going to determine every decision you make. That decision for me was very intentional. It was not fun, no. It was not sweet. Imagine you leaving a job and going for a lower, you know, paying job. But I was very, very particular about finding time to pursue something. And then I didn't even know it was going to be photography, even as a banker.
So how did you get to photography?
I was a graphic designer. I learned graphics. I was not doing it fully. I learned graphics when I was 7, doing youth service. I had this copper friend that was fantastic, and I used to like the way he does all the NCCF magazines, because we're in the same fellowship. So he used to do our
magazines.
You
lived in the family house?
Yeah, I did. I was the music director, actually. Yeah, I played keyboard too.
Same goes here. Oh, you do?
Yes, I do.
You play keyboard for
that too. I can, of course, but it's been a long time. Yeah. I've not even
I was music director myself.
Oh, really? In Lagos State. Yeah, mine was a no-go then. So I learned graphics, you know, alongside. So I really liked colors. I like beauty. I just didn't know what I was going to do. But I just felt I was so good at this graphics of the thing. When I even finished youth service, I got a graphic design job at one company. I worked there for 3 months. They didn't pay me salary for the 3 months. But I was not even particular about the money.
Boy.
I just needed a place to practice. So I was doing graphics. When I now got the bank job, you know, bank jobs, I didn't have time for graphics anymore. But I had the knowledge. So once in a while, when I'm home, I like to practice. Then I used to get 1 or 2 jobs by the side, you know, just bulletin or maybe business cards. So that was the moment I felt like, if I can bring in photos to these graphics, it will make my graphic design better. That is when I now said, okay, let me start doing some research about photography.
Again, you're the second person who's talking about researching. Now, let me just quickly slot this in here. What is the role of research for a photographer or for someone in the creatives?
The role of research is 100%. Like, you can't survive, you can't grow without research. You know, you can't even do anything. A lot of creatives are just obsessed with following one trend or maybe just looking up to one big name, which is good. That will just serve as a form of inspiration and motivation. But when it comes to actual growth, it's research. I learned photography on my own, literally. I learned from people, yes. I worked with the person that taught me photography, Akinyele Ogidiolu Studios. He taught me the basics, just basics, that was all. Then I moved to working with BNB Studio, that's Mofebani. I worked with that for 1.5 years. So I was like an intern. But everything I learned, like 80% of what made me who I am, is personal. YouTube, social media, internet. I mean, I'll leave the office around, let's say 5 in the evening. I'll go to my boss's studio, that's Mofe Studio. And that same time, I'll leave maybe like 10 p.m. at night. When I get back to the house, I'll be on the system till 5 the next day. I won't blink my eyes. I don't have any deadline. No. It's just research. On photography, I would be on YouTube studying how to capture that. Then I was living with my sister. My sister's baby was my model. I'll just put him in the center of the living room, carry camera, you know, start taking random pictures, or take my sister's shoe, my sister's wristwatch, trying to just create. That is how I learned. I learned on my own. Even my boss was shocked in a very short period of time. So, so how do you know how to do all these things? Why? Because my bedroom was my workshop. I took a loan from it's been hard, man. I took a loan from my office then. I was going on with 15K salary because everything I had, I took loan.
When was this?
This was 2015. I took upfront. You know the stuff they give at office. I took upfront. I took loan. Every possible benefit.
To do what?
To get a camera. I used to trek from the office all the way to the house because 15K salary was not enough to cover for my transportation. In fact, there are times when I'm going to the office in the morning, I take my shirt and put it in my bag because I have to trek and I know I'm going to sweat. I put it in my bag. So when I get to the office, I go to the back of the building, wash my face and wear the shirt and enter the building. That's how bad it was for me. So I didn't even care about the fact that I was just a beginner. My focus was, how do I shoot like Mofe? Like the photo name. Those were the guys who were following them, like Jide Kola, like Gideon Odukoya. You know, how do I didn't care about the fact that I just learning the basics. So my pace was really fast. So I borrowed money from my sister. I got a small Canon 550D, which is actually very small. So when I met Mofe was shooting with 5D Mark II. So when I saw the quality of Mofe's images, I just did like mine. Despite the fact that I was just learning, I don't even know anything, but I wanted more. So after like 4 months, I just sold off that camera.
There seems to be this impression that once you get a mentor, you should be fine. Will you survive with grit alone without mentorship? What's the measure for you?
That's a big question. From my experience, I would weigh it as 50-50. Because trust me, the place of a mentor goes a long way in running a race. Having someone that is way ahead of you telling you this is not the best. I made so many mistakes that if I had someone that could have been like, don't do this, it should have helped in the whole journey.
Can you be specific with some of the mistakes?
My branding, for example. You know, when I started doing well as a photographer, I didn't speak. Let me just use the word. I kept looking down at myself because of where I was coming from. So when it comes to maybe like my pricing or the way I see myself, I didn't see myself as somebody that has arrived, literally. I felt I just want to shoot. So clients would just come and just this is our budget. I didn't care. You know, even when I was in the bank, I would use my salary to make albums for my clients because the amount of money we negotiated for the job, it's not, you know. I even have weddings I shot them for 40,000 naira. They are still owing me 30,000 today. They paid just 10K out of it. That's how I didn't care, and it really affected me. But when I got to a point in my career where I should start starting, I didn't think about the money. If I had someone like, no, you can't allow clients to use it this way. This is your policy. These are the kind. Now I'm just implementing those things in my business, maybe in just like a year. But previously, I was just all about the fact that I want to be a good photographer. I didn't care about how to, because it plays a huge part in your career. It's one thing for you to develop a skill, and it's another thing for you to understand the business of that skill you are developing.
So how do you look at this market in terms of genre and segmentation? Would you say one genre is generally more lucrative than the others? And if you think so, which one is it?
Generally, wedding photography is more lucrative. If you are an average photographer trying to find ways to make money faster, wedding photography.
So what's the range like?
From my experience, for beginners, they charge around let's say 150 to 250. You know, for people that are just starting out. To be honest, if you charge less than that, I won't even call you a beginner. I don't know, I guess you're just starting up. But for you that you're trying to grow and you need content, that is not I believe if you charge around that range, that is the period when you're just trying to stabilize your brand. You know, that's for beginners. Let's say 150 to 250. Once in a while, probably you might hit a 300K job. You know, if the client is good. You know, but for an average photographer, most of those average photographers are established to an extent. You know, at least they work 30 times a month at least minimum, and then they get bookings. Their work might not be the best, but at least it's good enough and decent for an average couple that can't really afford much. So those ones charge around 300 to 450, 300, 400, 450, and a lot of photographers fall into this kind. Of course, when it comes to any industry, average is usually the most saturated.
Yes.
So a lot of photographers fall into that category of 300, 450 average, and a lot of them are doing well, considering the amount of weddings we have in Nigeria.
Yes.
Trust me.
We're a wedding country.
Yes. And the way the industry has even grown is massive now. So it's good. Then after that, we talk about people that charge from 700, 600. Me, I'm a beginner. So still.
How come I don't believe you? I want to believe you, but I'm just not believing you. My common sense is not believing you.
I'm just a beginner. So like I said, the higher end, they charge around 600 above. Some major notable names charge minimum of 1.5 million now. Notable names, not a lot, of course. Some charge 1 million, and I have photographers that charge 2.5 million for weddings,
Like you.
We are approachable, just like you said.
I like that. Yes.
But that's the range. So for anything 600 above, I believe you are doing well.
Share the experience of what you would consider your first big break. How did it happen?
The first big break. It happened on social media. There was this photo. I think I have it in that collection. Okay. There was this photo I took in Ekiti State of a friend. It was our introduction. So I traveled with her to Ekiti State. And there was this moment where they were doing this 1 minute remembrance for the bride's father. But the groom also happens to know he was actually close to the bride's father before he passed. So when they did that one, both of them started crying. So they had to use their hanky to just touch their face at the same time. The guy was doing the same thing while the bride was doing the same thing. Funny enough, I was still growing. Then I was still even using that very old 550D. So I just captured. I was just documenting. I didn't even understand the real essence of documenting moments like this. All I knew is I took picture of what was going on, and I shared it on my Instagram. Then I was still a banker. All of a sudden, I just dropped it. It was a Friday morning. Let me even post something on this my page that I'm still trying to grow. I just dropped it on the page and I went to work. So I didn't go online because I had to do my work stuff. So on my way back in my downfall, I just opened. Let me go check this. I just saw 500 likes. I didn't understand because my page is still very. She mistakenly, she page.
You refreshed.
You understand that moment? I was like, what's going on here? And I just went, well, this picture. Wow. That was the moment, real magic, because that picture moved. People started commenting, people started following. I was like feeling like, they say, of course, there were other times I dropped bangers. That
see the language. You
yes,
be town boy.
I know.
I drop bangers.
I know I did. I know that.
Yeah.
I have moments like that, but that was the first moment I started getting, even though it didn't really reflect in my bank account. Because I still didn't care about the money, but it gave me some recognition. Prominence. And people started reaching out to me, to shoot their wedding. Even they didn't offer me much, I didn't care.